story. 1. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my family because they won't fire my rapist? Trigger warning. Abuse. I, 24 female, was RP repeatedly as a child for 13 years by a driver who has worked for my grandparents for over 30 years and the same duration in my own home by another man. When it happened at home, it was usually when my parents went out to socialize after work, leaving me alone and vulnerable. I recently confronted my grandparents about what happened, but instead of firing him, they suggested I visit them so we could confront him together. The thought of being in the same room as my abuser horrifies me, and their suggestion only made it clear they don't believe me. They've chosen to keep him employed, saying they'll eventually let him go, not because of what he did to me, but because they plan to retire and won't need him for chores anymore. They said this 5 years ago. This has left me feeling guilty and confused. I often find myself downplaying my own pain, convincing myself that what happened wasn't that bad. But I know it was. My parents are divorced, and I'm trying to forgive them, but it hasn't been easy. My dad has been deeply apologetic, saying, "I'll be sorry for the rest of my life. Nothing will ever make this better." My mom, however, is dismissive. She keeps saying, "We're sorry. What else do you want us to do?" She also expects me to forgive my abuser because, according to her, I'm in therapy and on medication, so something should come out of it. My older brother has been abusive my entire life. He's hit me until the age of 19, berated me until I left the country, and made horrific comments like, "Animal abuse is worse. If you didn't report it as an adult, how can I believe you? The cops will laugh at you and might even RP you to show you what real RP is." My dad and I have cut ties with him, but my mom refuses to hold him accountable, saying she's attached to him because she's his mother. Recently, she told my dad that she's staying away from me altogether because she probably doesn't want to take sides. To make things worse, my mom's sister, my aunt, accused me of trying to kill my grandparents by stressing them out with my request to fire the driver. When I confronted her, she gaslit me, saying, "I thought you wanted to be like me. I guess you don't love or respect me anymore." I've since cut her off completely. The only consistent support I've received is from my dad and my cousins, who really just are my siblings at this point, to be honest. They fully believe me and understands the pain I've endured. Everyone else has shown me that protecting my abuser for their own convenience and avoiding confrontation matters more to them than my safety and sanity. Today, I'm a 24 female with body image issues, chronic pelvic pain from forceful penetration from the abuse, no sensation in my cheeks from my abusers occasionally beating me in the shower, and a multitude of mental health challenges that are not worth getting into. But to put it shortly, OCD, ADHD, and an eating disorder amongst the good old PTSD, depression, and anxiety. The abuse wreaked havoc in my nervous system, as I now suffer from POTS, which was only recently diagnosed, but the symptoms have been there since I was a child. I also started suffering from tinnitus in 2020, when I was begging my folks to get me justice in whatever way they can. I've since not slept on my left side because of how loud the ringing in my ear is, suffer from spondylitis, which has removed the presence of 2 of my vertebrae from every spinal x-ray, because sleeping is tough as I'm always on edge. I haven't sat alone in silence with my thoughts in 5 years, because the ringing is ever present. This is not normal. This is not okay. I made it clear to my grandparents, they don't need to fire the driver by confronting him. Just let him go. Say his services aren't required. I'm willing to do it that way too. But here we are. So, at the risk of my brother reading this here goes nothing, I guess. My mom keeps saying I ruin relationships because I've cut off people who didn't protect or support me, or who didn't do what I needed in present time as an adult. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your family's behavior is absolutely disgusting. They're prioritizing their own comfort over your safety and well-being. It's totally understandable that you've cut them off. You deserve better than this. Holy abusive family Batman. What in God's name did I just read? Okay, Op, let me make this abundantly clear. You are causing 0 of these issues. The issues your toxic family members are facing are solely due to the fact that they are all terrible people who care more about protecting an abuser than they do about you. Not the a-hole. I'm glad your dad is at least on your side. Cut them all off. Report what you can and never question yourself, because you are completely in the right. I didn't intend on responding here until I've read every single comment, but I need to say this. You are causing 0 of these issues has relieved pressure off my chest that I didn't know I was holding on to until this very minute. I've never cried about things related to this topic, mostly because I've been in perpetual shock. But for the very first time, I find myself crying as I type this. Thank you for giving me the space to unfurl and just be with my tears. Maybe, just maybe, this is where healing starts. Thank you for your kind words, friend. Cutting off toxic people is just self-care disguised as drama. You've got this. Just remember, you're not alone in this fight. You've got support from those who actually care about your well-being. Keep shining that light on their nonsense. Every time someone, even your closest family members, discounts or trivializes the horror of what you've been through, it re-traumatizes you all over again. Your grandparents, your mother, your brother, all serve to throw doubt on the reality of your suffering. Cut ties with anyone and everyone who dares to dismiss, question, or trivialize the predatory essay that happened to you. Go no contact right away with them and rely only on those who understand and treat you with the greatest empathy. Your suffering from the essay has spread into many areas of your wellness and wholeness. Contact a essay hotline and learn what you can do now to bring justice to those who gutted your life. Many states, countries allow those who've been SA to bring charges decades later. As a child, you wouldn't remember dates or times, but you can speak your truth and serve justice to the predators. Story 2. My wife is mad that I met the grocery delivery at the lobby instead of letting them come up to us. My wife is against tipping under any circumstances. Aside from sitting down in a restaurant, then she'd be okay with tipping 10-15%. We're in a high cost of living city in the US and do all right financially. I work, and she doesn't. But she's like my secretary, helping me with admin stuff like scheduling, finding stuff online, and making calls. I hate making calls. But I do all our cooking or taking out. Today we had a huge grocery delivery order. I feel bad for making the delivery person spend so much time if we're not going to tip him, so I waited 20 minutes at the lobby for him while doing something, not just wasting time, on my phone, and met him at the lobby, then loaded everything into a trolley owned by the apartment and brought it up myself. My wife is mad at me for wasting time on that when he could have come up on his own. I don't think it's right to make him spend so much time on our order if we're not going to tip him. In the past, she's gotten mad at me for tipping delivery drivers, so I thought she would be less mad if I did this instead. But it didn't seem to make a difference. Am I the a-hole here for not wanting to exploit people? Bonus. She said, the groceries will be delivered up with no tip in future. I asked her which would upset her more, tipping and having them come up, or not tipping and meeting them at the lobby. She said, "Fuff you for making an ultimatum." Am I the a-hole here for asking that question? Edit. It was actually, "Fuff this. You don't get to issue ultimatums." Now for the comments. Your wife sounds awful, honestly. And the famous saying, "You should judge people by the way they treat the people who serve them," rings true here. I actually think this should be the hill you die on. Not the a-hole. I would bet large quantities of money that she never returns shopping carts to the cart corral as well. I would be willing to bet she never does that type of shopping. You'd be right. I've always done the shopping. We just moved to a new place and don't have a car right now, hence the delivery. I'm actually going with everybody sucks here. You minorly. Her majorly. Your wife seems awful. What kind of person doesn't tip people who are doing you a service? And then to get mad at you for tipping? No offense, but she kind of sounds like a bee. The only reason I'm giving you slight a-hole points is because I think you need to grow some balls and tell her that you will be tipping service people no matter what she says, because it's the right thing to do, and you're a good person, and she can stop getting mad at you for it. Put your foot down, dude. She definitely sounds like a B, and you'd think as someone who doesn't earn an income herself, she'd have some empathy for service workers. Honestly, OP, you need to figure some things out. Your wife sounds like the worst type of Karen, and I can't imagine doing things like traveling with her or having kids. Her views and actions will be embarrassing at best, and outright rude at worst, given her lack of empathy and compassion. I'm also worried about her controlling behavior. She doesn't believe in tipping. That doesn't mean that you, someone who has no problem tipping, need to forego tips. Let her be a miserable cow who doesn't tip by herself. Don't let her drag you down to her level. In other words, F her for expecting you to follow her rules. Thank God, we don't have kids, and she hates traveling, so I tend to travel with other people. There are certain circumstances where I will always tip, and grocery delivery is one of them. The driver, gas expenses included, is physically bringing my food to my home, unloading it from the vehicle they loaded it into, and carrying heavy bags and products inside. I have severe arthritis and count on delivery to keep my house stocked. There are multiple actions involved in delivery and well worth paying for the service. Your wife is dying on a hill that just makes her seem mean and petty and cheap. I don't tip $100 of dollars. It's more like $10 or so depending on the volume of products, not the cost. I understand that the tipping extortion when you simply pay a cashier for a product you served yourself is ridiculous, but there are degrees of service to be considered. I'm sorry she feels the need to be so absolute on this and doesn't consider your point of view here. She's the one delivering the ultimatum that there's no tip, it's her way or no way. Let her shop from now on and cart all those groceries to your place. She might have a little more respect and perspective that way. Not the a-hole. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my pregnant sister that I wanted nothing more to do with her baby shower? My male, late 30-ish, youngest sister, early 30-ish, is pregnant with her first child. The family is thrilled for her as she and her partner have been trying for a long time to get pregnant. When she announced it, she mentioned that she was having a baby shower, and my sister and I offered to help out where we can. For some reason, she took that as my brother said he would pay for the baby shower and drafted a guest list of 120 people. I decided to text her one day and ask her what her budget was, and I heard nothing for at least a day. My other sister and my mom mentioned that I had said to her that I would pay for the whole thing. That was never something I had offered to do. She never addressed it with me directly and said that she and her partner would pay for everything. I took charge of creating the Evite registration site, driving an hour away to book the hall and put a deposit down, offered to do the centerpieces, pay for the stroller, driving back to the hall to add extra time to the reservation because their archaic system doesn't allow people to book online, agree to pick up food on the day of, answer every inquiry from her guests who've registered in the system. My husband offered to help out with the games for the shower. We saw my sister last week, and she texted me on Monday saying, "If he doesn't want to do the games, then tell me so I can give it to someone else." I finally messaged back and said that I thought her message was a little harsh, and if she was trying to imply something that she should just say it out loud. She then responded by saying, "Fine, I'm disappointed by how much work you've put into this shower." That's when I lost it. I was objective and listed everything I had contributed so far. I also pointed out that I had never agreed to pay for a baby shower with 120 guests. I don't know much about them, but I assumed they were intimate events in someone's home and not something the size of a wedding. I had less people at my own wedding. In addition to this, she complains about other people in her life to my mom and sister about how no one is pitching in. She asked my mom what she was contributing to the shower. My 70-year-old retired mother was taken aback by that comment and offered to cook food for 120 people. She's been so ungrateful throughout this entire process, and has since uninvited me to her shower and sarcastically said, "Enjoy your 40th," and removed me from my sibling group chat. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She sounds toxic and unhinged. You did more than most people would do. Nobody needs 120 people at a baby shower or a hall for it. Your sister is greedy and attention-seeking. Hopefully, pregnancy has just caused temporary insanity. Create an alternative sibling group chat without her. Explain what happened to your mother and siblings. Support your mom if you can, but not at the expense of your mental health. Enjoy your 40th and don't sweat missing the baby shower. When she comes crawling back, listen and decide whether her apology is enough. Not the a-hole. Honestly, this is a massive overstep on her part. 120 people for a baby shower? That's insane. You've done way more than most people would, and she's acting entitled and ungrateful. Creating a group chat without her sounds like a solid move. Don't waste your time stressing over her petty drama. If she ever comes back around, make her prove she's truly sorry before even considering letting her back in. Enjoy your 40th without her. Not the a-hole. When people offer to help with a baby shower, they're intending on bringing some food, making invitations, some decorating, maybe some games planning. They're certainly not offering to pay for an obnoxious event. There's no way your sister actually thought that. Baby showers are not large events. They never have been. They are at most 30-40 people at someone's house. And even that is a ridiculous number. Your sister is taking advantage of you. She is being entirely unreasonable. So I am the youngest of 7. My mom was the oldest of 11, and my dad was the middle of 12. Crazy, I know, but good Irish Catholics. So just my parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, and first cousins results in well over 200 people. When I had my baby shower, we had a BBQ in my parents' backyard. My 6 sister-in-laws coordinated everything. Everybody brought food, so it financially didn't fall onto one person. Then everyone brought a small gift or grouped together to get larger items. But honestly, almost everything was a hand-me-down from siblings, cousins: crib, high chair, strollers, exerciser, swing, etc. Bulk of the gifts were diapers, wipes, onesies, sleep sacks. And we were so grateful for every single thing we received. Never would have dreamed of treating my siblings the way OP's sister did. Honestly, she's someone I would be thrilled to get the silent treatment from. OP, not the a-hole. Your sister sounds like an entitled brat. Not the a-hole. I 100% get it. I was planning to do a combined baby shower with my sister-in-law since we are due fairly close to each other. I thought it would be her and her brother's shared family and maybe a few friends sort of thing. They have a really big family, so I was thinking 60-ish people. Turned out to be 15% shared family, 27% her friends, 25% boyfriend's family, and 33% boyfriend's friends, mostly single males. It was like 115-ish people. I live out of state and found out we were financially responsible and was told it was sister-in-law's baby shower when I raised concerns with the guest list and the fact it seemed more like a frat party than a baby shower. They are late 20s. I decided to dip out since I wasn't really actually included or being communicated with and was doing a lot of the planning, organizing. Pretty much no one would have known me there, so I would have been awkwardly in the corner, and the cost of the shower plus having to travel from out of state? I saved money just buying, sourcing my own stuff, including most the big-ticket items. Sounds like we learned a similar lesson. Don't assist with baby showers for self-centered, greedy people.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.